Today, I'm covering the top 10 most valuable Satchel Paige baseball cards. Some of these cards, I guarantee you haven't seen before. They're from other areas across the world, including Puerto Rico, some minor league baseball teams, and much more. So stay tuned for the video. Before that, though, let's talk about Satchel Paige and his amazing career. First started playing professional baseball in 1926, technically finished in 1965. It's part of a promotion with the Kansas City Athletics at the time. But across that time period, took him all the way till 1948 to play professional MLB baseball, where he played with the Indians, and then in the 50s he played for the St. Louis Browns. Another interesting thing about Satchel Paige is he was the first ever Negro League player in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and we can thank Ted Williams for that one. He pressured the Baseball Writers of America to elect some Negro League players. They formed a committee, and Satchel Paige was the first player chosen. With that being said, let's start off with number 10, which is the 1972 Puerto Rico Winter League stickers. Now, some of you guys, if you collect oddball cards, know that Mike Schmidt is the most valuable card in the set. This is pretty much a year before his 1973 Topps rookie card. Satchel Paige is in the set. No, he was not playing at the time. They had some retired players in the set itself. Now, this card isn't too expensive. An 8 runs about $350, but it is quite scarce. I think at the top of my head, there's about 50 or so that are graded. And there are raw examples out there that you can find. In that number 9 spot, we have a minor league card, which is from 1976. At this time, Satchel Paige was a pitching coach for the Tulsa Oilers. Now, what's kind of interesting is there's two variations of this card. There's one that's just a base non-auto version, and then there's also an autographed version of the card. Back in 2020, an autographed version ended up selling for over $350. This next card doesn't really show up that often, and that's a 1962 Pittsburgh Exhibits. The last sale was all the way back in 2017, where 5 sold for $300, but if it went to auction today, it's gonna be well over $1,000, possibly over $2,000. Some of the stars in the set command $5,000 plus. They're just so tough to source. We don't know what it would go in this type of market. Satchel Paige cards have increased a lot over the last few years. And this isn't his only exhibit on the list. There's another one which I'll be talking about later, so stay tuned for that. So we have our first 1940s example on the list. I don't know specifically if I would count it as a card, but grading companies do, so it is going to be included on here. And that is a 1949 picture pack. The Cleveland Indians ended up distributing these, and 2s go over $300. Remember the Pittsburgh exhibit, which I talked about a little bit earlier? Well, here's another exhibit on this list. This is a W461. Now, the range of years is from 1947 to 66. There's just not a ton of information out there, but due to Satchel Paige being in an Indians uniform, I would predict it is probably the 40s or early 1950s. A 6 has sold for $1,200, and the Satchel Paige is actually pretty low pop. Unlike the other videos, I wanted to do 3 honorable mentions. Up first, we have the 2001 SP Legendary Cut Autograph of Paige. These don't really come up to market often because it is numbered to 36, so I couldn't find any sales on it. Another honorable mention is the 2004 Prime Cuts. Satchel Paige has a few different relic cards. I believe his first year was 2004, but I chose Prime Cuts because they have some really, really cool patch cards and also low serial numbered. Has quite a few in this set, so I'm just going to put one on the screen for you guys to see right now. Definitely want to add one into my relic PC one day when I get the chance or opportunity to do so. And lastly, the 1974 Black Stars. This set really commemorated different Negro Leaguers, and there's 2 different sets of it. There's a 74 and a 78. They're tough because of the dark borders on them. They chip really, really easily. Okay, and now we're back to our top 5. Up first, we have another picture pack card. This was actually from his rookie season in 1948. These are a little bit more expensive than the 49s. A 1 has recently sold for $750. In the number 4 spot, we have probably the most common Satchel Paige card you're going to find at a card show or an online marketplace, and that is the 1953 Topps. These are honestly some of the best looking Topps cards of all time, especially the paintings that were used. However, there's so many of them out there that the price isn't too expensive. This is his only Topps card, technically. We'll talk about another one, which is in the number 3 spot. Low graded versions you can find between like 500 and like 1,000 or 1,500. However, once you start getting to the higher grades, they do become expensive. I think top of head, 8 is about 15,000 and a 9 is 30. Before we head into the top 3, I have to show you guys the article that we wrote on Satchel Paige baseball cards. Make sure to click the link down below in the description or the comments to get over to the website. Here I have all the cards in more detail, talking about different pop reports and also recent sales. So make sure to click the link down below to access the article. Speaking of tops, we have the 1967 Topps Venezuela. These technically weren't licensed by Topps, so when people say 1953 is only Satchel Paige's only Topps card, they are technically correct. This is part of the retired series. They're very, very tough to find. I think there's about 50 of them out there. A one is going to cost you well over $1,000. In the number 2 spot, we have the 1949 Bowman. Some people say it's not his true rookie card since he has a leaf, but a leaf was distributed in 48 and 49, so the Bowman is considered a rookie. Mid-grade examples are going to cost you anywhere from like $4,000 to $10,000. And there was an incredible 9 that sold at auction this year with Heritage that sold for over $230,000. The most valuable Satchel Paige card is by far the 1948-49 Leaf. This card, even in a 1, is going to cost you about $20,000. And there's an incredible 8 that sold all the way back in 2018 for over $400,000. Now this is a short printed card. To give you guys a little bit of a comparison, the Satchel Paige has 180 that are currently graded with PSA. The Babe Ruth, which is a popular card, in my opinion, a bit overrated, has 1,300. So very, very tough to find, even like in comparison to like a Jackie Robinson. Satchel Paige, you very rarely see. If so, it's going to be at an auction house. The only time I've seen these at card shows or when auction houses show off when their preview of their catalogs. This is a card I definitely want to add into my PC one day, but I don't know how I'm going to do it because it is a really, really expensive card. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to watch my Mini Minozo one right here because he has some really amazing cards.